Okay. If I Needed Someone. What a great little composition by George Harrison. What a great song. So I had somebody contact me with a request to do this tune. Thank you so much for the idea. This is a fun one. This is a really great one to do. It's so simple and there are so many cool just subtleties that make the drum part really interesting. So let me first say that when I began listening to the tune, I was really struck by how much this sounds like West Coast rock, like American West Coast rock. And I think you get a bunch of that on this album, on Rubber Soul. And I also did some reading, and it seems that the Birds, who were influenced by the Beatles stuff, their previous album, were starting to influence the Beatles a bit too. They were listening back and forth. I know that a couple of the Beatles went to one of their concerts, and the Birds were referred to a bit as the American Beatles. So there's a clear like exchange of ideas going on here, and it just is amazing to me that these four kids from Liverpool could be such a prominent part of the West Coast US rock and roll sound. That's interesting, and that's really cool, I think.
Never heard of it.
Do you want to see it?
No.
Must be American.
I've got it in my pocket. You want to see
It's
it?
American. They can stick
American.
it.
Now, I also learned, I didn't know this, I'm ashamed to say, but hey, we're all learning. I'm learning most. The Hollies covered this tune. I had no idea. I love the Hollies. I love their sounds and their approach. Their version of this tune is awesome. It's weird in the sense that I focused on the drums so much, and their drumming is so different. It's so different than what Ringo does. But man, it's cool. It's a great cut. It's a really good version of the tune. It apparently is the first time that George got charted as a songwriter was with the Hollies cut. So cool tidbit of information there. Now, couple things about the way I played, about what Ringo did here. So I'm trying really hard to mimic the album cut. Ringo clearly is using both of his cymbals on this the way that I just showed. So he's crashing on one, and then he's doing the middle eight timekeeping on the other. Then when it's the solo bit, where there's just kind of the ahs from the band, he keeps time on the one he'd been crashing on the whole time. And then when he gets to the fill in the middle, he crashes on this one. So it's something that I don't think you hear that much. It doesn't make that much difference to the end result of the whole tune. But when you focus in and notice that and listen to it, it's like, wow, that's great. It's like a little Easter egg or something that Ringo was so intentional with that. That's really cool, I think. Now, his fill. I love this little phrase. So during the verse, that 8-bar phrase, he's got that rock beat going on most of the time. In bar 5, he leaves out a bass drum note. And then in bar 6, he plays that fill, that buildup. I really wasn't sure if it was what I did here. This is what I think it is in the end. I thought maybe at first there was no hi-hat in there, but I really don't think it's a two-handed fill. I don't think it's this. I think the way that the notes get phrased when you have alternating hands versus one hand is different. It's different enough that you can hear that. I think we would hear that if Ringo was alternating hands. And if he's going to do it just one-handed, I don't think he's just going to stop playing and do this or do this. I think this is going to be going, and it's just right together. And because of the way the mix is weird and the drums are so far back in the mix, and because of the way I'm using tools to try to separate it all out, I just can't really hear this. But I think it's in there. It's awesome how that's on bar 6, and then the crash happens on bar 7. So often in today's modern world of rock and roll where it's kind of so corporate, and there's such a template already all laid out, and you're expected to sound like this thing. It's very rare to have a build up and a fill towards a bar that's in the middle of an 8-bar phrase instead of build up at the end in the 8th bar and then put a punctuation mark right at the beginning of the next 8-bar phrase on bar 1 of the next 8 bars. So that's really cool, I think. And I hadn't really noticed it too much. Again, maybe because the drums are so far back, but it's really awesome how Ringo builds to that moment and plays the crash, that climactic moment on bar 7, and how it fits in with the contour of the melody and the vocals, the lyrics, I should say, of what's being sung. That's quite awesome, and that's quite unique. It's really old school too. The way it all goes about is really old school. At first, I thought, man, there's so many crashes in this tune, but there's a lot of places he could crash and doesn't. When he comes out of the middle eight, where he's making all this noise, riding this thing, anyone today would fill and crash to go back into the verse, and he never does. He just finishes what he's doing and goes right back in. There's no need to make a scene. He plays no fill. There's no crash. He just changes up the texture, changes up the tone, the texture, and the feel, and that's plenty. You don't need all that extra stuff. So great, instructive drumming by Ringo right there, and I love that. Ringo's also really on top of the beat in this one, I feel. Sometimes in the tunes I've done, he's played behind the beat, like in Octopus's Garden, for instance. He really feels like he's behind the beat, just as late as he could possibly be and still be in time, and it gives it such a groovy feel. In this one, maybe this is kind of going in line with that West Coast rock thing. It's right on top of the beat. It's really pushing forward, and it's bright, and it instead of feeling like groovy and laid back, it's happy. It's like high energy and happy feel that comes out of that. So I tried to mimic that with the way I was playing, and there's even times I think that the band speeds up a little bit, um, and it's kind of hard to follow that. But it's really on top of the beat in this one, which I think is unique for Ringo. Now, I've just made some points about how Ringo has specific cool choices and it's a bit minimalistic. Let me give you an example of how this would sound in a more modern, like corporate rock way. So we're going to cue up the tune again here. And I'm just going to play a little bit of it and kind of give you a taste of what that would sound like. If I was playing this in a cover band, I might get input from my bandmates. Hey, we need a fill there. Let's give us a crash there or whatnot. Or if I was recording this in a studio for someone, this might be what they would want. They'd want this really cookie cutter drummer sound and way of doing things that I don't necessarily love. Just check out what it does to this tune when you kind of make it more modern and corporate. All right, let's do that. Okay, so you get the idea. So uh, it was hard to not fill where the Ringo plays the fill and put that crash on bar 7. I waited till the end, and hopefully you can just kind of hear, maybe compare or think about that. When you just kind of cookie cutter say this is an 8-bar phrase, I always got to play a fill at the end of 8 bars, and I always got to end on a crash. And when I'm trying to be like, ooh, what's a really uh I guess spectacular feel? How can I make this really notesy and chopsy? And how can I get more crashes and sound like blah? I just I don't want that. It's so selfish for me to play that way. If I was doing that, it maybe feels fun, but just it doesn't make a lot of sense musically to me, and it's just kind of yeah blah. So I'll take Ringo's way 1,000 times out of 1,000 over kind of what I just did, and I didn't put a ton of thought into that. I was just kind of going for it. But even so, even if you had a really skilled drummer, someone way better than me, that was doing it very thoughtfully, but played in that style, like I'll take Ringo. Thanks. So hope you like my version of it there and my little bit of analysis. Ringo Starr's the man. Props to George Harrison. He's the man too. What a great tune. This one was a lot of fun. Thanks to everybody who's donated a bit. That really helps out. Has been helping me to get some of the gear I need for these. If you'd like to donate, there's links in the description. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks so much.